Hello, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Welcome to your tarot reading here at the Intuitive Teacup. Please come into this tarot reading with an open heart and an open mind. Take only what resonates and release the rest. Please do trust your own intuition above all else, because you are accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. All right, let's set the intention to get Gemini, whatever their placements are in Gemini, some clear, helpful, insightful messages wherever they are at on their spiritual path. All right, let's do it. Your gem. All right, past, present, future. What's coming up for Gemini? What cards are going to help inform the reading here? All right, so coming from a place of healing, I always love that. Stepping into your identity and part of fortune. All right, so unlucky blessings that are sort of hidden in your path. I'm hearing the word, like, don't freak out. Like, I'm hearing the word landmine in like almost a funny sense, like a wink, like you accidentally step on something or stumble upon something, and it's actually very deep, it's very rich, it's very abundant. It's something, I mean, I suppose it could be like the idea of falling in love, where it's like you meet someone and there's just like instant chemistry. It could be that. It could also be money too. Fortune increases, quite literally, is what this card is saying. It could be something with a Leo. There could be a Leo who's wanting to invest in you financially, time-wise, energy-wise, romantically. There could be a Leo kind of coming in. There also could be an opportunity. This is very specific. It's not for everyone. There could be an opportunity to work in some sort of career related field that has to do with like children's products or child merchandise, or children's stories, children's books, children's clothing, I don't know, something to do with children. I don't necessarily think it's physically working with them, though there may be sort of what do you call it, like test groups where you have the kid play with the new thing and ask them what they think of it. There is something very strong here to do with children, but I'm not necessarily sure it's okay, for some of you, it's pregnancy. All right, for some of you, it is literally children. Anyway, that's a few messages, especially for my Geminis who, I don't know. I'm wishy-washy on if it's completely unexpected, but I think some of you reached a point where you kind of had to work through some personal stuff that occurred in your own childhood in order to be the best version of yourself, right? And I mean, we're constantly growing and evolving, but there is a message here about maybe not necessarily feeling like you wanted to have children because of what you went through as a child. But for some of you, there's a shift, there's a change of opinion because and certainly, I'm not here to influence or have any opinion on that whatsoever. That's a very personal choice. However, there is a narrative in your cards here where you meet the right person and that changes a little bit because you realize the environment that you would raise them or foster them in, or however you want to say it, it would be very different because there's been psychological growth. There's a lot of awareness surrounding a childhood wounding issue. And so you would know how to do it better. So some of you were closing yourself off to a path that the universe is saying, you don't have to do it that way. Like, there's a lot of different ways you could do this. And yeah, for a lot of you, I'm hearing the word fear. It was like understanding that fear was actually holding you back. Not that you necessarily didn't want to do it. It's that you didn't want to mess it up and have regrets. And so you're manifesting from a much clearer place right now. Okay, and then you have Mercury, the mind. I love that for you, Gemini, because that's your natural element. So, we're in Aquarius season. So Aquarius, well, when I'm recording this anyway. And so Aquarius season is a lot about linking and connection and communities. It's the sign of friendship. It's the champion of the underdog, right? It fights for what it believes in, and it's not afraid to step out and say the thing that other people are afraid to say. I see someone showering you with compliments. Now, again, it could come in a work-related scenario where all of a sudden you're in the spotlight and you're getting a lot of praise and attention. Sort of what you feel like is out of the blue, like what triggered this, what did I do? And the universe is like, you've been putting your heart and soul into this. So it's like, this is something that's been a long time coming, but it became so, I mean, the word banal, is that the right word? It became so natural and everyday ho-hum rhythm routine. You forgot just like how much you were showing up for not only yourself, but for other people. And so you're being applauded, you're being awarded, you're being recommended, you're being promoted, you're being endorsed. There's a lot of chitter chatter about you, but in a very good way. That's going to benefit you, lift you up, raise you up. For some of you, it's going to quite literally put you in the spotlight. If you're someone who does something more in the Mercury related field, so sales, writing, anything to do with like technology, something to do with phones, or social media. It could be something in like a science lab. It could be something to do with like editing or yeah, I don't know, like Mercury related topics. So, and Mercury has to do with our mind, right? But it rules. There goes my phone. That's funny. For some of you, it's like it's a phone thing. I better turn that off, or that's going to be an issue for like the next 20 minutes. So bear with me, Gemini. Sorry. Of course, my phone goes off in a Gemini reading. That's actually fitting. Anyway, yeah, there's good luck with Mercury stuff. So for sales are going to skyrocket for you. Some of you, if you use your voice, I'm hearing, if you're a singer, if you're a radio DJ, if you're something about all I can hear is iPod. What is the word? Podcast. Something about a podcast. Some of you, you're going to go viral. There's going to be a lot of hits. There's going to be a lot of traffic to your social media, your website, something like that. And for a lot of you, it could be money attached to it, or just the recognition, the idea that people are following you now. People are interested in what you're doing because you do have a lot to say. You're very wise, Gemini. And again, it comes from a place of having been through some really dark places and coming out the other end, seeing the light, having very strong ideas and values and opinions on things that you wouldn't have had otherwise had you not gone to this kind of, or been through this, I'll say, challenging situation, especially to do with family stuff, but it doesn't have to be. For some of you, it had to do with your own identity and embracing your own inner truth. That may have had to do with like the revelation of your sexuality, your gender, your this, your that, something where it's like, this is who I am and I'm not apologizing for it anymore. And it doesn't have to be as extreme as gender, right? But you know what I mean. All right, so you're moving away from 7th house partnership in some capacity. Interesting. All right. So being released from a contract, for some of you, it's being removed from a contract. And so that may have had to do with, for some of you, a job. But it's saying that you need to trust that was for the right reasons, because it wouldn't have, like, otherwise you wouldn't have stumbled on this part of fortune. And I'm reading into the way it's phrased. It's part of fortune. So it's not saying, $1 million check is delivered to your mailbox. I don't think it's saying that, Gemini. I think it's saying there's pieces to a puzzle that are being handed to you. And if you arrange them in the right way, with the right energy and the right good Gemini juju, right? In a good vibration, you're going to complete the puzzle. And with that, there's like a windfall of blessings and good luck and success. There's an opportunity here. I'm wanting to say, like, it's not being handed to you on a silver platter, but it's handed to you on something pretty good. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, as long as you're able to motivate yourself and empower yourself to go after something that you see value in. And some of you already have. Again, some of you, this is your blind spot, but in a good way. It's something you've already been doing. It's like the wheels have been turning for weeks, months, years, and all of a sudden you're starting to really, really see the impact. I'm literally seeing a stage with a spotlight. So that can be a metaphor for some of you, but others of you, it's like you're a performer, you're an entertainer, that kind of Leo performance energy, the peacocking, the showing off, but I mean it in a very good way. And again, for Gemini, it's like you have something really important to share with the people, so share it. Don't deny them the gift of your talent and I'm hearing amusement. You're very witty, you're very funny, you're very charming, you're very charismatic. That's very like Mercury Sun energy. Your words hold big power. You may be an influencer or a coach or a mentor, a teacher, something like that. Yeah, don't deny people the gift of your talents, and also don't deny yourself the happiness of living your purpose, of living your truth. That being said, you may be being asked to sacrifice a partnership that ultimately, in some capacity, whether you like this person or hate this person or something in between, it was holding you back a little. It wasn't allowing you to fully embrace your own gift and independence. And with the sun, there is something very important about a journey of independence here. So know that that's going to be good for you. And so what you're being asked to embrace here is the water element. So that does say to me, this is not a chapter where it's going to be void of love. The water element, to me here, it's like there's a sensing that there's something greater out there for you and a need to release control and have all the details completely pinned down before you embark on this journey. There's just a flowing energy. There's a mutability. There's a flexibility. There's an adaptability to, take it in stride, sort of. Like, I think you need to set the wheels in motion to go after something. But with that, be open to kind of the twists and turns along the way, the new characters that are introduced to your life. Some of you, there may be a water sign coming into your life romantically, or an Aries for that matter. Something about the 4 is making me think of the Emperor. So someone who could have a very strong impact on your career too. Yeah, especially like Scorpio, like money stuff. It doesn't have to be romantic. For some of you, it just might be, though. Getting out of a partnership that held you back versus embracing one that has this it has a flow to it. This person isn't trying to control you. They're not trying to micromanage or mastermind, or there's another good word for it. Strategy, something about having a strategic plan for you guys in your future. It's not to say you're not talking about the future and making plans. That's very Mercury, but not in a way that's going to try and control you or hold you back. And it's a way that's going to elevate you and lift you and support you. Some of you are very powerful healers, or something to do with the arts, arts, performance, entertainment. If that's not you literally stepping onto the stage and, receiving the applause and people throwing roses at you, you may be in a role where you are supporting other artists. Maybe you're the financial backer, Gemini, or maybe you're maybe you're the roadie, or maybe like you're someone who helps contribute to someone offering performance and, wisdom, insight, entertainment to the masses, but you may be one of the cogs, is that the right expression, cogs in the wheel? You may be the one who's supporting, endorsing that. Maybe you're the person running their social media channel. I'm going to say this, I don't get this message a lot, but when I do, it's very fun to relay it. There's an element of fame here. And maybe, again, it's not going to be for everyone, and if it's not necessarily you, it's sort of coming in the energy, the space, the realm of someone who has a lot of power and a lot of influence, maybe a lot of money, but also maybe a large fan base. There's an element of fame here where it's like you're kind of on the fringes of that or working in and out of it. Like I don't know if you connect with like a celebrity, or again, you end up working for something and you have like a celebrity host come to visit, or someone's interviewed for your company and they're like a really big name in that industry. There's absolutely an element of fame here. And I'm hearing the word psychic for some of you. So again, not that has to be a career you're going towards, but some of you absolutely could. I think it more has to do with this psychic feeling, like you predicted something that came true, but it wasn't something that you even put a lot of stock in. It was very much like a throwaway, like you were just dreaming about something one day, or you quite literally had a dream about something and woke up and dismissed it, or whatever, you got on with your life, and then you're like, something transpires, something materialized, and you're like, oh my God, I dreamed this. I feel like that happens to Gemini a lot. All right, let's see. Yeah, get in the game. This is about playful fun and competition. This is about not being a wallflower anymore. This is about joining the club, joining the group, joining the community. Even if you are a little bit hesitant, I feel like Gemini always underestimates themselves being a social butterfly. Like typically you can put Gemini and or Sagittarius, even maybe Leo in a room, and like they get along with everybody. Like they're naturally charming and graceful. Again, it's like your words are just very, I love Geminis. I know y'all get a bad reputation every now and then. Pay no mind. Geminis are awesome. I don't care what anybody else says. But yeah, there's something about you underestimate yourself and your powers of influence, or your power to, I don't know if it's impress. I'm not trying to make it like statusy and egotistical, but to be honest, I think you're being asked to lean into that. Lean into your confidence. You have no reason not to. I think there's people who want to quote unquote play with you. I think there's people in your career field who could help you. Look at that, Gemini. You've had really good career readings from me lately. There's people in your field that, it's not about looking at them as competition. I said the same thing to Leo. It's about, hey, we're both in this field together, especially like women related things where it's like, you're trying to make it, I'm trying to make it. Like, let's share some tips and let's share our stories with each other. Like how we got to share our stories, like how we got to this point, things we learned along the way, because there's like a good exchange of energy there where it's not like you're trying to take anything from anyone else. And I mean, you do have to be careful with that because, I'll admit Mercury, Gemini, it's Hermes energy. So there can be a little trickster energy there. I guess use caution with who you're networking with, but I think there's a vibe. Again, there's like a psychic intuition or something with a water sign. It's like you guys mean each other no harm. There's something very much like, hey, I really love what you did there. Oh yeah, I saw you, give that speech, and I'd love to talk to you about it. And like, yeah, there's an opportunity to like get your hands dirty, but in a good way. It's like, play in the playground, or what is that expression? I'm hearing like be nice in the sandbox, but I think it's like step up to the plate. It's your turn to shine and meet the people and share some wisdom, but also gain it. I think there's warm, almost nurturing energy around you for whatever you're looking to pursue, Gemini. The Page of Swords, conversations happening. I think this is about you being a little bit defensive too, or not feeling like if I share too much, people are going to steal it from me. And again, you need to use your common sense. You're accountable and responsible for all your actions and decisions. But yeah, I think there's something very lovely. I think there's a connection coming in where it's like drop your sword, put your defenses down. You have no reason not to. With water energy, be open, be a little bit vulnerable, be caring, be sensitive. Male or female, it's like tap into that more sensitive, nurturing, intuitive side, because you're going to receive that energy back. That's what it is. It's like a reciprocated relationship. And again, for some of you, you may meet someone while working on strides in your career. I'm not saying it's like a coworker per se. That could be the case, but it's more like a fortuitous connection, someone you happen to bump into along the way, or somebody who's helping you with a specific job. It's funny, I just heard electrician. That's so weird, but yeah, whatever. You're opening up your shop, you're opening up your business, and you have to hire help to do this, that, and the other thing. Like, you hit it off with someone, and there's like a playfulness to your energy here. They also have a very sharp mind. They have a witty mind, and like that's your love language, right, Gemini? It's like they gotta have a good voice. They have to have they have to have intelligence. Like at bare minimum, they have to be able to speak and talk to you, and be able to serve up witty things and fun jokes, and self-expression is very important. Yeah, and something is symbolic here about a butterfly. That sort of makes me think of Scorpio. There's a little bit of Scorpio energy coming through here for you, possibly Aquarian energy as well too. But something about the transformation, the cocoon or the chrysalis to the butterfly. It's coming out of the darkness and stepping into the light. And with the Page of Swords, it's kind of naive student energy. It's children energy. So again, there is a storyline here about children. But what I was really going to say is like, I think there's a need to be very compassionate with yourself and give yourself a little bit of. Give yourself a break. Like, don't be so self-critical, because something about you stepping up into this new chapter, it's not always comfortable. That you have to work through some internalized fear about, am I ready for this? Am I good enough? Are they going to laugh at me? I'm hearing the movie Carrie. Do you guys know with Sissy Spacek from the 70s? You guys know Carrie, right? It's like she hears that loop of her mother, like, they're all going to laugh at you. They play that like 1,000 times in the movie. They're all going to laugh at you. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but the way I'm hearing it, it's very funny to me. But it is funny in a sense that like it's an internal monologue that holds no weight, and yet it's something that maybe you've held on to this belief of like, I'm not good enough, people don't like me, people think I'm weird, people think I'm silly. With Aquarian energy, it's like lean into your weird, own your weird, because that's actually what sells you really well. It's what makes you different, what sets you apart from the rest. That's something nobody can take from you, because you're coming at it with your truth and your perspective and your narrative and your identity. And so again, I think that in a sense should lessen your fear about the competition, because it's like no one has your brain, no one has your eye, your aesthetic, no one has that same skill or talent the way that you do. So I think it's about not being defensive, not holding yourself back, not leaning into self-criticism. There is an element of like stepping up and being brave. That's a really big word in your reading right now, Gemini. All right, what else? Other messages for Gemini, and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah, I just heard it's all fun and games until someone gets hurt. That has to do with your past. Yeah, you have a huge card of liberation. And planting new seeds that are blossoming in your future. Again, there's a double message here of things are blooming for you. It's almost like, again, you were so in the process, you lost sight of the overall goal or vision, or didn't have the perspective, like seeing the forest from the trees. When you zoom out, you're going to be like, I've actually come a really long way. Have you ever had like those moments where you drift off into like, not literally dreaming, but just kind of like in your mind, your subconscious, like good example, like if you're on the treadmill or something, metaphorically, right? And then you just kind of drift off into thinking about this, and I got to do that, and oh, I love this song, and I'm going to look that up. And then you look down and it's been like 40 minutes and you're like, oh, that's sort of what, like metaphorically what I'm getting here, but more so with your career. Some of you, this is so like rom-com, and I'm sorry I'm taking it here, but some of you like meet somebody in a bookstore or a coffee shop. It feels very like Meg Ryan movie. Some of you, you're connecting romantically with someone who is an entrepreneur who owns their own business. They may even have a local shop that you visit. Or again, it's somebody in your community that you hire to do like a contractor job, and then you guys hit it off and end up going out for coffee. And there's something very specific about a book. Maybe you guys are both reading this. Oh God, this sounds so rom-com. It's like you guys are reading the same book, or they see a book in your apartment when they're coming to, whatever, assess your, I don't know, however you guys meet, it doesn't matter. But there's some sort of important conversation, or not important, but there's some sort of it's a confirmation for some of you that you talk about that book, or that was something you had in common, or you both love the same comedian or the same writer or the same poet. It's like some of you have poetry like pinned up on a board, or like lyrics to a song written on the door, or I don't know, a bumper sticker, and there's some sort of mutual like, ooh, I like that too. That's very Page of Swords, like, oh, those words spoke to me. That's very Gemini too, the Mercury stuff. Yeah, I love that. Some sort of tagline or endorsement or poster, or it's something that has like a phrase on it that is very like meaningful or symbolic, or yeah, like laced with meaning, but it also it has to do with a romantic prospect. Something is blooming, especially with a water sign or maybe a fire sign. They wear something that has flowers on it, male or female. It's like they have wacky socks, or they have a pin or a button that they wear for their work, like their tag has a flower on it, or flower in the hair, or flowers on the tie, on the suspenders. I have no idea, but it's like it's not super tacky though. I want to be clear. It's not like they show up looking like a clown. There's some element of like a flower. I don't know what that could be. I'm hearing the word daisy. Anyway, others of you, there's something about a painting, or watercolors or acrylic. I mean, I'm hearing like painting terms. Like it's very messy though. It might be all over their shoes or all over their jeans. That's a separate message. That's an entirely separate message. Oh, some of you may be hiring painters to come redo your space. Okay, love that. Love that. Yeah, I think this isn't for all of you, obviously, because you would know your scenario by now, but some of you may be on the brink of divorce, or questioning if that was the right decision. And if, part of me wants to say, of course it was. Like, of course it was. Others of you are kind of like on the fence of do I or don't I? I just have to be honest. This is what you're being asked to embrace. Things are blooming and blossoming. It's great. It's playful. It's witty. It's fun. It's all the things. It's romantic and it's career stuff, because seeds are starting to come up from the ground. The buds are starting to spring up. What you're being asked to release, though, it has to do with investing in partnership. Some of you maybe, if you are an investor, you may be pulling back funds because you can no longer endorse a person or a product because you don't believe in them. There may be a moral or ethical dilemma. It may be something that goes against your credo, your code of ethics. If you're an investor or financer, or vice versa, that could happen too. If some of you were being endorsed by someone else, there may be changes or regulations. Like, yeah, totally. I'm hearing like Saturn in Pisces. It's like there's regulation on the free flowing money. It's like it's being contained now. So there may be some struggle there. Or if it's not bank money stuff, it has to do with like emotionally investing in a person, a physical connection. With seventh house stuff, I mean, they are kissing, right? So I'm not sure this is business related. Some of you may be ending something with someone who it feels like you invested a long time in, but it just wasn't meant to be. Some of you, this is like a heavy message to end on, but it's like feeling broken for so long and coming into some new chapter where you're starting to realize, like, I was never broken. It's really too bad that person made me believe that, because it's like I have so much to offer the world. It's like, again, stepping into the gift, stepping into the spotlight, and realizing how much value you add to something. A lot of you weren't able to see that before, and it's very heavy, but if you're still there, do have faith. Things are changing, but you do have to be able to really look at yourself and sort of do that internal digging to get to the truth of why you're actually believing things that just they're actually not true, especially in terms of self-doubt and criticism. And for some of you, it's very deep. It's like self-hatred. A lot of it had to do with psychological abuse growing up, or again, someone who just completely undervalued you and made you feel like total shit. That never had anything to do with you. You were dealing with a person who just, they didn't love themselves. And so their reaction to other people was only bringing out the shadow side where they didn't feel lovable. And so that's what they were expressing to you. But really it's like, yeah, and you know who this is already. For some of you, it was I'm more psychologically abusive is what I'm getting, emotionally abusive. For some of you, it could be an ex, but for a lot of you, it's a family member. It might be a father figure. They were incredibly hard on you, like a militant, I'm hearing military. Yeah, and there were some deep held wounds there, but you're starting to realize that you don't have to hold on to that weight anymore. It's like I'm hearing weighted blanket. Sorry for the weird metaphor, but it's heavy. It's like you don't need it anymore. It was only dragging you down, and there's something about this liberation of not being pigeonholed, pigeon-held, whatever, not having to conform to that identity or live out that truth because it was imposed on you. It was never who you were. It was never how you really wanted to feel about yourself. With this, a lot of you are doing like deep psychological work and inner child healing. Okay, sorry, that was heavy, but ooh, that needed to come out. That needed to come out. A time for healing, the balsamic moon. Something about Sagittarius or Aquarius is coming through there with the purple, or something about amethyst. Some of you may be wearing an amethyst stone, or somebody gifted you amethyst earrings, bracelets. I don't know, something to do with amethyst, or painting walls that are purple. Something about purple is very important there. And then your dreams need a practical plan, full moon in Taurus. All right, Gemini, that's what I got for you. Please like the video. I would really appreciate it. Show me some love in the comments. Leave a positive comment. Leave an emoji. That helps this reading gain a greater audience on YouTube. Helps me gain some growth to my channel, greater traction on YouTube. That's the goal, right? If you're not already, I would invite you to subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you know you'll be alerted essentially when I post tarot readings. If you want more content, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. And that's about it. Thanks for joining me, Gemini. I'm the Intuitive Teacup, and I will see you soon for more tarot. Bye, guys.